You have to open your mind. That's what Malcolm X learned. That's the reason why he started letting white people in, because he realized that you can't win this battle all by yourself. You have to have people who can do it, show you who you have to have people who are willing to come in and show you how to do it better.
Yeah, because,
not give you stuff, but show you how to do things better.
I never want to be the smartest person in the room.
No, never.
I've never. It's important for me to always be able to learn,
right,
and to be around people who know more than me, because that's what's going to make me a successful person at whatever I do.
To me, like, guys, personal responsibility is freedom.
It's everything.
Because
it's
when
everything.
you take personal responsibility, you free yourself.
Right.
You say, I don't need anyone to free me.
Right.
I don't need some group or white person or some government
I don't need
to
a
me
movement.
that I'm free. I'm free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm free to make the choices that I make. You know what I mean? And so personal responsibility is very important. When you take personal responsibility away from people, you take away their freedom, because now they're a victim. They're a victim to somebody else's choices. So if you don't take responsibility for yourself, someone else is going to take responsibility for you, and they may not like it.
Right.
Because you don't want the government to be doing everything for you. You don't want that.
No.
You don't want a lot of food stamps and welfare, and you don't want to be a baby mama to a bunch of men that are in jail or dead or not, just don't want to have anything to do with you. You know what I'm saying? Think before you do that. I know it's not cool to say that you don't want to have sex, but you shouldn't have sex. If you already have one child by a guy that isn't with you, then don't go have 2, 3, and 4 children and then put yourself in a position where you can't be happy anymore, because you don't like men because they've now left you, and you don't like men because you have to pay for all these kids and deal with them. We talk about money all the time, but the truth is kids take a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then you have to have time for yourself.
Well, when you do parenting right.
And that's what marriage gives you. When you're married, it's easier because you have someone else to help you.
And now we don't even have that. Now it's kind of, there's no nuclear family.
And when the welfare state came in, it took away the father. And so no one wants to talk about father absence. And, and that is a big problem.
It is.
It's a big problem in our community. And again, this is the reason why with hip hop music the way that it is, and, we have to be able to see that is just entertainment. That's not real. And we need to bring families back together. People need to be getting married again. Children need to be, with a 2-parent home. Yeah. We need to stop frivolously laying down with people because, we're feminists.
Yeah.
Or because we're in a sexual revolution, or we just think that it's okay now. It's just taboo. It's not taboo to sleep around. You watch too many Sex and the City shows, or, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not cool, because when you have sex, that is a privilege. It really is, because when you have sex, you create life. You can have a child. You could get a disease. It can change your whole life, that one act.
But I feel like people think it's a secondary thought. See, it's an afterthought. Those types of things, like having a child or any kind of, making get an STD, all these kind of things. This is always an afterthought.
I know a lot of single mothers that are way in over their head, and they're mean to their kids sometimes.
Yeah, I see.
They walk around telling their kids they're bitches and they need to shut up, and they have a short fuse. You know why? Because they have to go to work.
It's a lot of stress.
They have to raise these kids by themselves. They're mad because they don't have a man in their life. They're mad because they're probably not going to get one because they have all these kids. They're mad at themselves, and so when their kids just act like children, I
always feel like
they yell at them and project at them. And then what does this woman do? Go and have another one.
I think we had a subscriber once say this. She's a single mother. And she said, it's not a pretty conversation. She told me she's a single mother of 2. And she's like, I had children younger. She's like, and I never really wanted to be a single mother, but that's what ended up happening. I was a single mom. The guy left, right? She's like, but I will say that there is a point in time, even as a single mother, you have to ask the hard questions to your own self.
Yeah.
What did I do to contribute to this situation? And we were talking about that in the video, whatever video we were talking about. And I told her, I was like, I wrote back to her and I said, I'm glad you didn't come on to attack with us, because a lot of times Karen and I are not mothers.
Right.
So I don't want people to feel like, oh, you don't understand the struggle of it. I don't.
Right.
Understand the struggle of a single mother or even being one. So, or if there is a struggle, I don't. But what I do know, even talking to single mothers, is that that's a struggle you don't want. Is when you're having to do this all alone. When I talk to people who are like absentee fathers, men who decide to just leave. Just leave. Because understand, it's not just single mothers. There's this problem too, the fleeing of black men. fleeing, this kind of like fleeing spirit they have on them, where they just don't want to stay and take care of responsibility. And at some point in their life, they're going to have to ask themselves.
But even men who want to stay, with who are currently, they're not with the mother, but they're those men even say it's hard because I don't get to see my child every day.
You're right.
I want to see my kid every day, and then they have to deal with a woman who's mad and she's over going to the wealth, to the child support, trying to get more money out of him, or he can't see his child. You know what I mean? So you see what I'm saying? Like, it's the choices that we make in life that really impact us more than our race. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I feel like we have to stop being only black. We have to stop only, like, everything can't be about our race. We're like the only people in this country that everything is about our race.
Yeah, we ride the race coattail, and then we just suffocate ourselves with that whole race thing, right? And I don't think lightly of racism.
I'm a black woman. I love being a black woman.
I do too.
I love my race. I love my people, but I'm just not only black. I'm many things. I'm not just only black. We have to show up as black people because we're going to show up black whether you like it or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's important to understand that you can do and be whatever you want, and that you live in a great country. Make no mistake about that. There are people around this country who are begging to come in this country and having a hard time.
Well, clearly, I mean, there's begging
to come into this country. African people, Haitian people,
and you think when they get here, they succeed because they understand.
And all of them will tell you that
the privilege of being an American. Yeah. That's another thing, is that we were talking about this too about but even like politically speaking, black people have a big issue. We like to separate ourselves as black Americans and Americans, right? So I believe I'm an American. I'm a black person in America, but I think that what we do this thing where we separate ourselves so much from the rest of the Americans,
right?
And then when we get caught up with that, we're different, and then when we get treated different, we get upset when we get treated different. But we're always separating ourselves from American, and I think that to me, I feel like we need to start recognizing ourselves as Americans, right? And understand and be proud of who you are, your race. Be proud of being black. We definitely are. We talk about most black issues on here. We always
how you live your life is your business. Whatever your ethnicity is. I mean, whether you're Italian or Puerto Rican, however you make your food.
But you are an American.
But you're an American first. I don't want to go to Africa. I want to visit Africa, and I definitely want to visit Africa. But I'm an American. This is my home. You know what I mean? And I don't want to go back anywhere.
Right.
I'm not going back. I've never been there.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm an American, and I like the country, and I feel like that we have to start seeing ourselves as more than just our race.
I don't know if we understand the full scope of being so separate.
Yeah.
The full scope of what you're doing.
I think that whole idea that it's just like we're black people, but we don't think the same.
No, that's a good point.
So that's my point. It's like we have to see ourselves. We have to see ourselves as individuals because we don't all think the same.
No, Kara and I are not rich, wealthy women.
No,
right? We're not rich, wealthy women. We just have a different mindset that just makes us want to move forward, makes us want to pick our own stuff up by our bootstraps, understand that everyone needs a hand up, never necessarily hand out. You know what I mean? Like we understand the process of needing help and all that, but in the essence of, I think the way that we think is really just the mentality of making sure that you take responsibility for your life and your choices and understand that you do have a choice. And so when you understand you have a choice in life, you live your life differently. Like I feel differently about my future because I know that I have a choice to do whatever I want to do, right? But if you have a mentality where you feel you have no choice and your choice is limited to where you're at right now. But I talked to somebody recently that is from the hood, right? So and she grew up that way, right? And I was talking to her and she was like, I feel like I'm never going to be. Like I can never get to that level of like success and stuff like that. And I was telling her, I was like, you can really do whatever you want to do. Right. So what you're saying to me is that the fact that you live in the hood and the fact that you're around probably drug dealers, prostitutes, I'm assuming. She's like, yes. And I was like, right, okay. So what you're saying is that is now going to be the rest of your life. You have no chance now. You just said to yourself that you have no choice, no chance. Now, is that true? Is that factually true? You have no choice and no chance. And she's like,
or is that just what you tell yourself?
Is that just telling yourself? And she said, well, I don't. I said, think about it before you say it, because the truth is that you, she's a young lady, I said, you have all the choice in the world. Right. Is that you're letting your neighborhood and the people around you, the toxic,
tell you
all that toxic stuff, you're letting that swarm up into your head and get into your spirit. And now you are going to start believing that's who you are. You are the hood now. You're not a girl in the hood. You're the hood. Right. And I'm trying to tell you, I told her, I said, I'm trying to tell you, you are not that. Okay. You are a person living in the hood and you can get out of it. Okay. That's it. I was broken, homeless, and I can get out of that. Right. So you make choices in life.
I mean, Danielle and I, when we came home, the people that helped us were Indian people. Yeah. And I learned a lot. And I think another thing about another thing we can do is if we don't open ourselves up to other races,
that's another way
that we can see where other people do it better.
Right.
And the truth is that other races do it better.
I learned a lot from Indian people.
Look at Hispanic people and Mexican people. Mexican people do most of the landscaping, and they came here mostly illegally or some not. But they've really taken over the landscaping business. Indian people take over the hotels. You know what I mean? And so, but what I've noticed being around all the Indian people is how no matter how much they disagree with each other, they stick together and to build their wealth. And that is something I think if Black people, if we don't learn how to allow other people to give us, to let us in to help us do it better, because people do it better than us.
They do, yes.
White people do it better. Asian people do it better. You know what I mean?
We have been willing to admit that, though. We have to
be willing to admit that to ourselves.
You just saying that.
Those Indian people taught me a lot about things I did not know just from watching them.
Because they will be like the Indian people. We work in a hotel, so a lot of them are owned by. You guys know a lot of them are owned by Indian people. So, but
learn a lot about money and stuff.
These people, talking to these people that helped us, we were homeless.
They gave me a whole new start,
and they gave us a whole chance.
And I would never be, these weren't Black people that helped me. These were people from. I'm just saying they changed my life, and they gave me a second chance, and I will always be grateful, forever be grateful for them for doing that. But I also, along the way, learned a lot about money. I learned a lot about staying close to my family. And lifting my own
watching
people
them,
up.
and also watching them with money, because even that. The way they were with if they failed at something, let's just say they failed at something business wise, right? There's another Indian person that come in and go, hey, you know what? Well, we have this, so we're going to put 70% of this money to you, to your company, and then it's just going to be a whole little world of their own little world of money they have, and it just kind of circulates. So even if they fail. Not really. Right. You know what I mean? But if they do fail, there's always another coming in to help or to,
I'm open to looking at, I don't want a handout. Like Daniel said, I'd rather someone teach me how to fish than give me a meal.
Yeah, me too.
You understand? That's why I'm saying, when we moved here and, everything, and we had those Indian people, that helped us, they taught me, what they taught me was how to fish.
Yes.
And I need that. You know what I mean? We need that. I don't need a handout. I need someone to teach me. And sometimes if you just stop running your mouth about your problems, you can actually hear solutions. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so I learned a lot about things, not just about money, but about sticking close to people that are like you.
Not toxic
and
people.
helping people up. So when we talk about this subject right now, I'm not doing this to put Black people down. I'm doing this to show where we can open our minds and see different things. Do you think Jay-Z and Beyonce got successful by not opening their minds to white people that they're around? You think Oprah became who she is by not opening her mind to all the Caucasian people that have helped her become who she is today? You have to open your mind. That's what Malcolm X learned. That's the reason why he started letting white people in, because he realized that you can't win this battle all by yourself. You have to have people who can do it, show you who. You have to have people who are willing to come in and show you how to do it better. Yeah, not give you stuff, but show you how to do things better.
I never want to be the smartest person in the room.
No, never.
I've never. It's important for me to always be able to learn, and to be around people who know more than me, because that's what's going to make me a successful person at whatever I do, at whatever I choose to do. So it's kind of like when you realize you have a choice in life, you make it. You have to learn to make that choice and not just be it just that just be the end all and be all of where you were raised or how you were raised or a circumstance that may have happened to you. You know, like you have to be able to not be a victim in life.
Or just see the areas where we could be victims all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm saying, just like with police brutality. No one wants police brutality.
No.
Nobody, not even white people, want to be brutalized. But
I've seen those videos too. I don't like that.
I don't like that. That's not. But we can't always talk about that. Like that is the reason why black people are going down. That's not true.
Like,
even in that black conservative page where I commented and these black people came after me, I still didn't get mad at them because I understand, because I was thinking like them before too. So you have to have compassion for people who don't know. Yeah. But they still want to keep calling me coon. Yeah. And they still want to call me a bedwench. And they still want to do that. And I'm like, I'm not going to call you names. Yeah. That's not why I said, I didn't say that. We're not going to go back and forth. I'm not going to hurt you as a black person. I'm not going to hurt another black person. I just simply had another point of view. Yeah. But you're calling me names because you've now run out of an argument. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so my point in saying this is that you're actually now hurting me. I'm not hurting you. I'm not going to call you that. I'm not going to call you nigga. Yeah. I'm not calling you anything because I don't think of you that way. I'm simply giving you a different... A different,
but this shows you how stifled we are as black people, where even amongst black people you can't think differently, because if you think differently, if you say it out loud, you're going to be accused of being a sellout or whatever it is. And I mean, I think that is just such a poor low level argument that for someone to think differently than you, that means that you are some kind of sellout. I mean, I
think even like this white guy, he said he was white. And he came in and he said, well, he's talking to the guy who was calling me names and the girl. There was a couple of women that were saying that I was a sellout. Right. And so he said, but see, this white guy said, I'm a white guy, and I'm hearing these black men and women talk to this black woman because she had a point of view that wasn't like theirs. He's like, and really, no matter what you guys are saying, this is what's really wrong with your community, is that you don't have any room for a different opinion.
So that's an outsider.
So you're mad at her because she doesn't want to think like you. But this is America. We're supposed to have freedom of thought and freedom of speech, and we're supposed to respect each other. That he's like, I don't agree with everything other white people say, but I'll fight to the death for them to say it, because this is what our country is based on: different ideas and different thoughts,
and being able to vocalize that,
and being able to vocalize that, and be able to talk to each other about different things, because you can find a happy medium. But if you don't ever want to talk, and you are stuck on your own, thinking. Then you're going to be a very small person that never leaves your problem. You will always be that person that's a victim, because you don't want to explore anything else. You just want to stick to the narrative. Right. He was just like, so the way that you're talking to her is really despicable, because if you were smart, what you would do is just debate her.
See, but black people I do respect that are Democrats or whatever, are the ones who are at least open to talk to.
Or know about politics.
Or know about politics and listen to the policies and all the different ways of all the different parties and the way they think and what their ideas are, and and not get so emotionally involved in it. Just really listening to just the kind of like the bread and butter of the whole thing. Just listen to it. And they're still say, but I'm still gonna be a Democrat. Yeah. I'm not mad at you. If you're still gonna do that, it's fine, because you at least listen. Now I would venture to say that once you hear some of the things, you may see yourself a little closer to the way other people are thinking. But if you
might
don't
find yourself thinking liking what they say, and that's okay.
Because we were saying in the beginning, that I didn't realize how conservative my thought process was.
It has been for so long.
I didn't realize that I had always been kind of that, conservative. They always say that the older you get, the more conservative you get, which is true. But I didn't realize even my younger, like thinking about how I've always thought this way. We were not like
my mom was like, we were raised by a single mother, right? But my mother wasn't one of those women. She didn't go after my father for child support. Yeah. I think once she tried, and then she just moved on.
It was too much.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And she never went after my father really for child support. She never was on welfare. She was never on food stamps. My mother worked hard. You know what I mean? And also gave us a childhood, because I didn't know how hard she worked until I grew up. But my mother worked really hard. She did a lot of it on her own. My grandmother helped, because because we could go stay with my grandmother on the weekend and spend, because we loved her. You know what I mean? But my mother really took care of all her bills. Also, my mother was never frivolous about sex.
She wasn't bringing a bunch of men around us all the time. She wasn't none of that.
Although we had a childhood, my mother always talked about the fact that her being a single mother is not ideal. Yeah. And she always said, do not go. Danielle and I both didn't lose our virginities until we were like 18. We were adults, really. You know what I mean? And she was always saying, don't take sex lightly. being a single mother. She always put that in our head. You know what I mean? Be married. Don't have children if you're not ready. Don't do that. You know what I mean? And so I take that with me. And I think that if you are a single mother and you're in this situation, that I think it is important that you talk to your daughters or your sons about the ideal family. You know what? Because being a single mother is not ideal, but it can be done. There are good single mothers out there. Don't get me wrong. There are great single mothers out there, but it's just not. It's not an ideal situation because kids deserve both parents, and it also helps women to be married. And also have children.
Also, I think that our mom, she wasn't just big on her a little bit, but she was never like she never tried to be our friend.
No, right.
Our mom has always like growing up. She's always been like a mom. She never really. That's why it makes me laugh when I see a lot of these mothers now that are out here doing TikTok videos and sexy dances with their daughters and stuff. I'm just thinking, no. But my mom, you know, I'm just thinking, even if we were raised now, my mother, the type of mom that we have, like she would never even venture to do that. Like even if that was popular.
My mother was the kind of mother that if we went to the, say we used to go to the mall and we used to go get, you know, have our little money and we would go to the record store and buy certain CDs. If I came home with a 2 Live Crew, she would throw that in the fire. Yeah. She was like, give this to me. Nope. I mean, our first rap album my mother bought us was Run DMC's Christmas in Hollis. I mean, my mom was like that. She cared about what we saw.
What we're listening to.
Because she saw the climate, you know, she saw the climate of what was out there.
NWA, all that stuff.
And we were not allowed to listen to that music. If any time I ever heard that music was with my friends somewhere else and I accidentally heard it going down the street in a car. But in our home, my mother was, no, that's not for kids.
Remember we bought that cassette? Remember we bought that tape? I can't remember what.
I can't remember what.
I can't remember what it was, but we went to the record store and got a tape of. It may have been NWA or 2 Live. It may have been somebody.
She didn't like the lyrics.
It wasn't good. It wasn't one of the good ones. And so when we got home, she was like, "Where'd you? You know?" And it had the print advisory on there. And so she marched right back up to the record store and took it back. And she told the people, she was like, "You sold this to my daughters, and they are
this is a minor."
She's a minor, and you sold this to her. So my mother was that type of mom. So I just think that, I guess that we were just raised. You know.
But you have to understand, we weren't raised during YouTube years. We didn't. There was no Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, none of that. So these kids these days, to me, need extra parental.
It needs to be a little more stiff.
Because they walk around with cell phones. Honestly, I don't think young people, and I'm not talking about teenagers, but kids that are like 8 years old need to have cell phones.
I don't think so
unless the phone is call me.
Yeah.
If you're using it as make sure if your child is stranded anywhere, they can come and get you or something like that. But I don't think kids that are 8 years old need to be sitting out and looking at YouTube and
the kind of stuff they have on there.
There's too much on there that isn't that you.
And now kids know how to get past filters. They get past
filters. Yeah, so. Now, if you're a teenager, I'm okay with that. But I even think even when you're a teenager, you need to know your children. You need to know what they're doing and where they're going. That should never go away. I don't care what decade it is. You need to know who their friends are.
Right.
Where they're who their friends are. What they're listening to, what they're into. Talk to them. You know what I mean? Because it's important.
Yeah.
You can little things can change a kid's life. You know what I mean? And so, because kids are, very impressionable, they're gullible, they'll go along with anything that their friends tell them to go. So you have to give them some sort of strength. And, I think like my mom gave us that. And maybe that's the reason why I've always had a more conservative way of thinking, even in my younger years. I've made my mistakes as a 20-year-old and 30, but mostly I've always believed in not having a family, not having kids outside of marriage. I believe in working hard and everything I make. I buy my own groceries. All of those things that you set yourself up to be your own self-independence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so don't put yourself in a place where you have to now be a victim.
Yeah.
Because you have to wait for people to give you things. I think it's important that Black people have conversations like this.
I do too.
With other, but I would love to have a person. I can't wait till we have people that we can bring on the show to talk.
That would be more fun.
But what I would say is that I do think that Black people need to have more conversations where we're not mad at each other for having an opinion. We just have the opinions and talk about it. Because I think that a lot of our problems can be solved by ourselves. I think that we can do better when we talk about real stuff and not things that just seem sexy to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to talk about real things of substance, things that are really going to make, because, if we can go from 75% a single mother rate, imagine if we got it down to 50. How much that would change the Black community.
Right. If
Black women were getting married.
Imagine
just 30% or even 10%. A Black mother, that goes down 10%.
That
how
means
much
that the
this has
nuclear
changed.
family
Right.
has now it's starting to come back,
Right.
and we're starting to have better acting teens and better acting, children in general, and they grow up to be better acting adults, and then we have a whole new world.
Yeah.
Of where it's like a throwback. We actually now we would have more of a retro now if we would do that, but it's like people are not. Yeah. A lot of people are not. There's a lot of. I understand there's other reasons why people do the things they do. A lot of it's low self-worth, low self-esteem, depression. These type of things all play factor into single motherhood.
But they come.
Absentee
from
father.
Right.
All this stuff. It all plays a factor. So don't think that we're just saying, oh, you're just single mother. No, we understand that people do have emotional, mental health issues that contribute to the situation. Right. So we're not gonna crap on that at all. I understand that. I know people who have mental health issues, and I get that, and depression, and not feeling good about themselves as a person. So, but I think that the broader scope of what I'm trying to say, like in generally speaking, I think that we do have to get to a place where we do understand that we have a choice to take responsibility for yourself, because even if you are a depressed person, it is your responsibility to get help for that if you need it, recognizing that. It's all about self-awareness to me. And I've always felt that if you have self-awareness, then your whole life will look different really for the rest of your life. You are an improved human being if you have self-awareness. And you don't immediately go and project. Right. Because
we can talk about police brutality, we can talk about racism, but let's also talk about other things. Yeah. Let's not just talk about those two things. Let's talk about the things that can really make a difference. So, like my political views are kind of, I'm more conservative than I am liberal. Right. You know what I mean? I wouldn't call myself Republican. I haven't pulled the lever for a Republican. However, if we vote again, I might just vote Republican for next time, because Joe Biden, I'm not voting for. I'm sorry, I'm just not. You know what I mean? It creeps me out a little.
The Joe Biden thing is.
I think mandate stuff.
I feel like at this point, as Americans, we can collectively say that was.
If there's another Democrat that maybe comes in or something, but if not, I'm going for freedom.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean? So, that's just how I feel about things. I'm not encouraging anybody else to vote that way. Yeah. But, I would just say that, I'm more of a conservative thinking person. Right. You know what I mean? Because I like my freedom and my, I like to pull myself up.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. Leave some comments down below. I'm kind of interested in hearing people's thoughts on, if you're comfortable telling us your political views. If you have something that we said that you just don't agree with. We're kind of interested in hearing what your thoughts are. Sometimes
I'm okay with people saying,
and also, sometimes when you disagree with us, you guys are actually sometimes right. So, we may be wrong about something, factually too. Maybe wrong about something. So, I don't know. Leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.